So, und damit herzlich willkommen hier zum Run. The Legend of Zelda, Echos der Weisheit, wird gerunnt, diesmal vom einzigartigen und unglaublichen TGH. Take it away, my friend.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm just gonna assume that you're introducing the run, because I was afraid I was afraid I was running for the wrong marathon at first. Hi everyone, I'm TGH. I speedrun The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. We're gonna be doing all dungeons today. Welcome to Fast Pace for Friendspace 2. We're raising money for Take This, by the way. So. Yeah, get your donations in, and we have a pretty cool incentive for this particular run, which is going to close about an hour and a half or so into the run. So if you want to see me get the cat suit and finish the game with the cat suit, if we reach that incentive at any point during this run before we enter the final area, I will go get the cat suit and we'll finish the game with the cat suit. So yeah, I've actually never gotten the cat suit before, so hopefully we'll find out how to get it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So we are playing in German, by the way. German is the fastest language for this category. This is all dungeons. Fastest language for this category because we get one less text box for every single waypoint we collect, and we will be getting a lot of waypoints in this run because we kind of need the waypoints to do the main glitch that this run takes advantage of, called wrong warping. So basically this category, as opposed to any percent or really any other category that, you know, doesn't do a lot of these, we basically wrong warp to the back of every dungeon, essentially, and we just finish the dungeon that way. Like, that's kind of the premise of the category. Wrong warping in this game was discovered as early as, like, 2 days after the release of this game, which is absurd. This game was released in September of 2024, so yeah, it's very, very new. But we'll get more into the wrong warp later on. We'll see if I can explain it properly. But this beginning section of the game, we are going to be playing as Link, very briefly. And Link can really only just kind of walk and jump, and that's basically it, and also swing his sword. We have some items that we use, but we don't really use them until Ganon. But yeah, or the Ganon fight's coming up. So I will say, by the way, I'm open to questions from chat. I have chat open, and I'm also open to questions from you, Ro. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask, and I will do my best to give an answer. But
how do you feel about the fact that this is what feels like the first Legend of Zelda game where you actually play as Zelda, and thus the title makes sense?
I haven't really thought about that, honestly, although I will say that I'm very happy that we finally have a Zelda game where we do play as Zelda. That's not Zelda's Adventure or Wand of Gamelon. But yeah, shout outs to Final Flame, but we don't really talk about those. But here we have the Ganon fight, by the way. So we use a bomb shoe and a bow and arrow for that first phase. Throw 3 bombs up left, shoot them all. They all explode at the same time and advance the cycle. 2 bombs up left, bow. 2 bombs up right, bow. And the fight's done. Pretty simple fight once you understand exactly what you're doing in each cycle. That's pretty much as fast as you can do the Ganon fight there. So, I mean, look, just as you know, it's not me being in a fast-paced marathon without getting absolutely blasted by Amber and company. It's just not the same without some Final Flame disrespect as well. And, you know, disrespecting the CDI games. So, yeah, big shout outs to Final Flame. In all seriousness. So yeah, now we're just going to be breaking out of this Crystal of Zelda, and we'll have a short escape sequence out of these ruins. And then the game will begin for real. And by which I mean we'll go through about 5 minutes of cutscenes.
Awesome. Yeah, but it's interesting to play Zelda. I
What's
just find
that?
it so fascinating. I just find it so fascinating about the fact that we get to play as the princess herself. Because she used to be so amazing, especially like in Ocarina of Time with like playing as Sheik and whatnot. Oh, Link lost his hood.
It's about time. It is about time. And honestly, I really like what they did. I like how they implemented like the use of echoes, and you know, it kind of like. And I know some people have like some complaints about Sword Fighter form and how it makes it too much like you're playing as Link, but I think they did well to balance the two things. Because I don't know, I think it still really feels like a Zelda game to me, despite the fact that you are playing as a completely different character. Yeah, here I'm just kind of trying to move as straight as possible. Go ahead, sorry.
That sense in itself already is fascinating. Like, it's weird that like it feels like a Zelda game despite playing a different character. Oh, you mean Zelda?
Yeah, it's Zelda. Yeah, exactly. Another thing to note about the version that I'm playing on, by the way, if you want, this is actually really important. If you want to run this category of this game or any other glitched category, do not upgrade your game to the current patch, because you cannot do the wrong warp on the current patch.
So they actually fixed it.
Yeah. They did. They patched what's called menu storage, which is what makes wrong warps work in the first place. And yeah, that kind of created a whole bunch of problems. So I'm actually playing on version 1.0.0. That is to say, I am on a physical cartridge right now. It is the fastest version of the game, despite digital loads being faster typically. Loads that utilize, or loads that happen while menu storage is actually open, are actually faster on physical 1.0 for some reason. I think that has to do with 1.0 versus 1.01. It's very, very confusing how this all works, but just know that I am playing on the fastest version, and that I'm playing on a physical cartridge without having updated my game. So I'm playing on a Switch that's not connected to the internet, and will never be connected to the internet, or else it'll auto-update, and I don't want that.
Just as a side note, I find it interesting that despite the game being set to German, the title still is in English, Echoes of Wisdom. I thought they'd translate that.
That is interesting, yeah. I think they did the same thing with Link's Awakening, I believe. Which is funny, because isn't Link's left in German? Am I mistaken?
Link's is left, yeah, that's correct. Like with an
yeah,
S
so it's literally Left Awakening.
Yeah, true. Link is erwacht, it would be, if you were to translate it. Oh, it's amazing.
Okay, so we're about to go into a fairly long, sort of, not opening cutscene, but cutscene near the opening. And now's a good time to talk about how I'm actually mashing the text in this game. So, Turbo is actually allowed by the community for text boxes only, with an uncapped hertz, or like uncapped button mash rate, as long as you're only using it for text boxes. So right now, I'm just like holding in a button on my controller in order to mash text. So I'd like to very quickly shout out the Echoes of Wisdom community for placing accessibility above anything else here. So yeah, like we're saving our hands, we're saving our controllers, and we're having a lot more fun with the run as a result of the vote that we had for Turbo. So yeah, shoutouts to the Echoes of Wisdom community. Truly one of the best communities I think I've ever been a part of. Super close-knit, but also super dedicated to like improving the run and making sure people have fun while they're doing it. So can we get a shout out for accessibility in chat, by the way? Can we get some hype in chat for accessibility?
Nice. And would you, like, are there any places in the run you would benefit from like, using Turbo outside of text boxes?
There can be technically, like getting menu storage, for instance, but I I don't know, we kind of determined that it would be pretty obvious if people were using Turbo. And also, it's like, with practice, as far as menu storage goes, with practice, like, you are going to be more consistent without using Turbo. So, yeah, like, there really are no places in the run that truly benefit from Turbo. Technically, there could be, but it's not an issue. Or it's not as much of an issue, according to the community, so...
Wait, I'm confused by the cutscene. Oh no, the king is being like swallowed by this purple goo stuff in the floor. Let's also walk into it.
Well, I guess they're trying. They're very loyal. They're trying to save the king from, I don't know, from sinking in, but it was kind of a futile effort, as was made evident. But yeah, what happened there was the Echo King, Echo General Right, and Echo Minister Left all came out of the void and sort of posed. They were imposters as those characters and threw Zelda in the brink for, I don't know, war crimes. Probably.
She's breathing weird. Put her away.
Man, here we get introduced to Try, and Try is what, well, Try is who, I should say, creates the Try Rod for you and allows you to learn and create echoes as you play, including the most famous echo of them all, the bed, which is what we're going to get in a few minutes. But first, we're going to have a stealth section here, or a quote-unquote stealth section, where we escape Hyrule Castle past the guards, but we do some trickery with echoes to make that happen.
I have so many terrible puns in my head along the lines of "Did you try hard enough?" and blah 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 blah. It's like I'm not even got it.
Look, I won't be happy about them, but I'll accept them if you have them.
Well, in that case, I'll try to get a donation in, or maybe two.
Go ahead, absolutely.
Because we have $25 from Link, which reads, "Oh heck yeah! I finally got to be in a game for once. Hey, what's this purple stuff on the floor?" I feel like I should have maybe read this more as hat. And another $25 from Stella. Both, by the way, went towards our amazing target, which is getting the catsuit in the current run. Which we have $60 out of 150. So only 90 more to go. Also,
yeah, definitely.
With polls going on.
Definitely get those donations in for the catsuit incentive. Yeah, the catsuit is very cool. It's very cool, especially fighting the final boss with the catsuit. Also, I'm doing something here called jump spawning, or really, it doesn't really have a name. It's just spawning an echo as you jump, and it happens far enough out in front of you so that you can jump up on it right after you spawn it. So like right here, I'm just gonna hold Y and press B to jump on a very specific point on the floor. Because it is pretty position based. So when you spawn echoes in this game, right, they have to spawn on full tiles. So like, here's a bad example because the tiles are actually offset by a half. So like the tiles that you see over on the right hand side there are not actually like indicative of where the tiles actually are. Those are on half tiles. But as long as you know where the tiles are in a room, like how a room is comprised of said tiles, you can use that to your advantage, because basically you need to be on a half tile or on like the edge of a tile to do that spawn jump, because you know where the tiles are going to spawn. But Zelda can be anywhere. Zelda can literally be anywhere, because you know, this isn't Zelda 1. Like, you don't snap to a grid, right? But your tiles do, or most of your tiles do, including the table and bed and stuff like that. Like, those snap to a tile. So, you can use that to your advantage. To do... Whoops. Oh, I forgot what turbo mode I was on. There we go. Hopefully that made a little bit of sense. Basically, just know that your tiles, or excuse me, your echoes can spawn on certain hole tiles, and if you know where those are, you can do jump spawns to just like kind of not stop moving while you're spawning an echo. I'll be doing that a few times. What were we saying? Sorry.
You got the incognito clothing, which is a hood.
I did, yeah. Now nobody knows who I am. Not a single person. Except Impa, maybe.
Her face looks exactly the same, but I can't see her hair. So it could be Princess Zelda, or someone completely different.
Okay, so now we can spin. And spinning is going to be the fastest method of movement throughout this run for us, throughout this entire run. And now we also have the beds, so shoutouts to beds. Shoutouts to beds for real. Shoutouts to beds. Oh, that's an interesting spot for the rupee. That's fine. We're gonna get that anyway. So yeah, this category we kind of like don't really care about getting a green rupee. We don't try to like skip the rupee or anything because it's gonna happen eventually. We're just gonna be getting it, and there's nothing we can do about it. You can also use the bed instead of the boulder to break those crates instead of weighing them down. So you might have noticed I skipped the boulder. We don't need the boulder at all. Okay, so you might have noticed I spin jumped into this cutscene. In cutscenes where Zelda like slowly automatically walks to a certain point, I want to spin jump into them just so that I'm a little closer and we spend less time walking slowly. And more time jumping out of text because I overmashed my turbo. Whoops.
Again, translation thing, I'm terribly sorry, but like in English they're called rupees, right? Like with a P and double E.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because the German translation, you translated them as ruby, like the gem, the red one.
That's interesting. I know they did that. I know in the CDI Zeldas, they're called rubies. But even like as far back as Zelda 1, like Zelda 1, they're even called rupees. They're spelled R-U-P-Y for whatever reason, but yeah, like they're in Zelda 1, they're rupees, but at least in English.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just as a native German speaking person, I will point out some translation stuff I find curious here and there.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I like this this cutscene right here because Try's like, "Can you fight monsters, Zelda?" And we're just like, "No. No, we can't." I don't have time for that. Sneaking behind that Zol, I'm going to throw this rock a little bit skewed so that it doesn't get in my way on the way into this cave. So that was pretty successful. You might notice, by the way, too, that every time I collect an echo, I'll pause and then unpause very quickly instead of mashing through the text to like just sort of get through that text. Why are you right there? Wow, that was odd. But yeah, so I'll be pausing and unpausing very quickly every single time I get an echo. It saves a few frames. It just like I think we can, yeah, we get the other rupees here. Okay.
I assume you need to or want to buy something soon?
Yes. So it's a little like, okay. Does anybody who has not seen this run want to guess what we're going to use these rupees for? Because I can almost guarantee you that you're going to be wrong. I can almost guarantee that nobody's going to get this right. Think of what you can spend rupees on in this game. Think of everything that you can that we can spend rupees on.
You know, maybe the first thought that I had was burgers, but I think that's the wrong choice.
That's correct, actually. Burgers. Burgers is right.
No,
it's not. It's not. That's not right. But I wish it were. I wish it were. Dive into them like Scrooge McDuck. Not quite. Not quite. And unfortunately, the answer is not to donate to take this. But y'all have that covered, right? Y'all have that covered. Yeah, unfortunately, we need these rupees for something a lot more trivial than that.
You know, talk about money and rupees and whatnot. As a little reminder for you lollies out there, when you are donating, you can not only donate towards a target, like the catsuit for example, you can also put the same money onto a poll. So do keep that in mind. It's very important because we have 2 polls going on for the mix-ins for the monster cookies, which we currently have $10 for raisinettes, which I think is just raisins, and $25 for the cake mix flavor for the homemade Twinkies with red velvet.
I am really looking forward to Paxy's baking segment.
You like raisins?
It's gonna make me so hungry, but I don't care. Okay, so now we're in the Stilled World. So the Stilled World is basically the final boss of the game, which we're gonna meet, you know, at the end of the game, I guess. The final boss of the game is creating these rifts, which need to be repaired by Try and his fellow Try. I guess they're all just called Try, but his friends. But we need help rescuing his friends in these rifts. And I'm going to give a quick shout out to this particular NPC who we used to skip this cave segment right there, and that was actually pretty clean. That's called Wife Jump, because that category, or excuse me, that character is referred to as nothing other than just wife in this game. So we call that Wife Jump.
I bet they appreciate having been that much of an integral part of saving the kingdom.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. They get a lot of credit, I'm sure, at the end of the run. So yeah, now we learn Bind here. Bind lets you... Think of it like Ultra Hand in Tears of the Kingdom. So you basically just like kind of grab something with it by pressing the X button. And whatever you do, the bound object will also do. So we can just kind of push it onto that switch right there, and we do something similar with this rock here. We just move it out of the way with Bind. So that's kind of the game's way of teaching you like what Bind does and how it works. Meanwhile, yeah, Zelda's going to be a massive arachnophobe here. And drop 7 beds on this Strantula. And we're just going to use the Strantula. Strantula is pretty important. Meanwhile, we're going to grab Ignazol over here. We're going to get a little bit of a detour to grab Ignazol. This thing, the community affectionately refers to Ignazol as Ignichad. And you're about to see why in just a few minutes when we fight Echo Link here. So the mid-boss of Southern Ruins is Link. And you have a couple of options to fight Link with. But the best option by far is actually Ignazol, believe it or not. That's a bed. I do that at least like once a stream. Hang on. Don't worry, nobody actually saw that. It's fine, right? Nobody saw that? Okay.
Just a quick nap.
Yeah. God, I love doing that. That just happens when I forget to menu to my candle. Alright, so we're just gonna yank the shield off of the statue. The game kind of uses this room as a way to tell you, like, hey, you can yank shields away from enemies that have shields. Which Link is right here, or Echo Link is an enemy that has a shield, but we are not gonna handle Link that way at all. Instead, we're gonna sneak around Link, stealth mode, everything, lay an Ignazol, bind it, let it attack, and drag it into Link like that. And it just kind of takes care of a cycle for us. If you don't do this bind strat, by the way, if you don't, like, do that bind strat, it kind of, oh, we almost, like, broke out of that. That was interesting. The hitbox is a little strange on the Ignazol, and it can result in Link not properly being stunned. So yeah, you want to bind the Ignazol there. I think it was Owen that found that. Owen found out that makes that fight consistent. Owen found a lot of stuff for this game, so... Yeah, folks like Owen, Glenn, Glubbers, I think it was Gymnast, who you'll see later in this marathon, actually, running Skyward Sword Rando, who found the wrong warp in the first place that we use later on, or who found the first version of the wrong warp. I believe it was Gymnast. So, yeah, big shoutouts.
The sword was blue. Orcs are nearby.
Yes, and now we have the Sword of Might, which is going to allow us to break this purple web. And I'm going to be honest, that's like kind of like the most important thing it does. I didn't mean to transition out of Sword Fighter form there, whoops. And we got honey, cool. That's why I like to keep Sword Fighter form, so I can break those pots in a certain way, but I guess I hit one of my bumpers by accident or something, got me out of Sword Fighter form, no big deal. So upcoming is a room with 3 Dekubabas, or flower-like enemies. I'm going to burn one, and then for the other 2, I'm going to pull them, and at the right moment, I'm going to jump so I can not get knocked back. Like that. And that makes that room a little faster.
As someone who has never played the game and watching the full run for the first time, I find it very, very interesting and fascinating how the game approaches combat. Where it's not just hit thing with sword, but like you have to think outside of the box.
You really do, yeah. And like in multiple scenarios, there are multiple different ways that you can approach a room. Like for instance, that room that I just did, you can easily just use Sword Fighter form for a lot of that room, including like the very end of it. Or you can just like burn everything with Ignazols. Like you can, like there are a lot of different options. Right here, I'm gonna be trying something as well. So there are 2 different ways that we can do this room that are quite fast. I'm gonna try the more aggressive strat that saves like 2 seconds. I'm gonna try it once and only once. And I got it. Nice. That's a strat I normally don't actually do in runs because it is quite difficult, but we got it there, so as far as you know, I get it every single time, right? It's probably like...
It works every time.
I get it probably like 60% of the time, but... But yeah, there is a much safer, more consistent strat there that only loses like 2 seconds, and I normally do that. Okay, so, so for this boss, somebody in my chat once called this strat Bedhead, and I don't think there's any better name for this strat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, spin. Alright, so I'm going to stand on the bed, face up left, hold out my sword, and as soon as the bed breaks, drop and spin. And that immediately breaks it. And I can just stay in Sword Fighter form this whole time, and hopefully he doesn't do the spin attack on me. Cool, we got the slam, which is ideal. Hello? Alright, there we go. Not a bad Seismic Talus. And not a terrible Southern Ruins either.
Nice. GG's.
Not bad. Okay, so... now that Southern Ruins is complete, the stage is kind of set for us to start doing some weird stuff. I'm going to go over the things I'm going to be doing here in this segment, so that I don't have to talk about them as I'm doing them. And maybe I can talk a little bit about them as I'm doing them, but, so, coming out of here, we're going to be thrown right into an escort sequence. We're actually going to be escorted ourselves to Luberry's house. However, we're going to be doing a trick called Luberry Skip to break out of that escort sequence. So the way we do this is via something called safe tiles or home tiles. I think you can call them either or. But basically, if you ever were to void out at any certain point, or fall through the floor, for instance, the game has a failsafe for that, in the form of teleporting you back to the last tile that you had access to or that you were standing on. That's known as a safe tile, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to manipulate our safe tile by using beds. And we're going to basically build a bridge of beds from one safe tile to where we void out. And as we get escorted, Minister Left's vision trigger is going to move along with Minister Left. And the point where we teleport back to the safe tile is going to be outside of her vision trigger. So we'll effectively have escaped the sequence altogether. Now, a downside to this is that you lose access to your warps, because during the escort sequence, you lose access to your warps completely. Like, you can't warp anywhere. You can't use waypoints. We kind of need to be able to use waypoints as the run progresses. So the way we get them back is quite funny, and it involves the rupees that I mentioned earlier. Remember when I said you're never gonna guess like what the rupees are used for? We use the rupees. I'm gonna give you the answer right now. We use the rupees to play an acorn gathering game. We use the one near Elden Mountain. Mount Elden. What? Elden. Yeah, near the wall where you ascend to get up to Mount Elden. So yeah, we use it to play a minigame, but that minigame gives us our warps back. And at the end of this segment, we'll be getting the main echo that deals our damage for us. So starting right here, I'm going to be just building a bridge of beds, and hopefully not messing up. So from here on, if I touch the ground at all, I set a new safe tile and the trick is ruined. But if I pull this box out diagonally and get in there, I can infinitely fall and teleport back to outside Minister Left's vision trigger. Get up on the trees, and we have successfully escaped that escort sequence. So now, this whole segment is just going to be me getting warps, me getting waypoints, because the wrong warp that we're going to do involves getting a whole bunch of or rather, I guess the setup for it is getting a waypoint and then using said waypoint as a sort of, I always struggle to explain exactly like how wrong warps work, but there's a really good explanation on like zeldaspeedruns.com for it, but let's see if I can explain it here. So basically what you're doing is you're getting something called menu storage, which involves you opening your menu and voiding out on the same, at the same time. And what that allows you to do is go to the stilled worlds, right? And access both the stilled world array and the overworld warp array at the same time, and effectively make it so that you warp to a stilled world array using an overworld warp. So we're going to be warping to stilled world locations that correspond on the same array to each overworld waypoint. So that is why you're going to be seeing me just going around and collecting a bunch of waypoints during this section.
Done with collecting stuff. Are you ready to collect the catsuit?
Why do you ask?
Because we actually just got a $100 donation from the incredible Lilac, which went towards the catsuit, so we now have $160 out of $150 for that. Thank you very much. And another $100 for the Red Velvet. And the donation itself actually reads, Red Velvet Catsuit time. Thank you so very much.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Okay, so, it's occurred to me that I know it takes 2 minutes to get, but I'm not exactly sure who to talk to. And I'm also not sure I'm going to be able to figure out while I'm playing in German. So I know I have a request, because I know and I don't mean to call out if you're like lurking at this point, but I know Glan is watching, and I know that Glan has done, marathon runs with the cat suit. Who do I talk to? I need Whole Mill. Oh, okay. So I need to go back here then. Okay, so I need to go backwards. So there's only one point in the game where you can get Whole Mill. And it's in the Cave of Ancestors in Gerudo Town, or Gerudo Desert. So I'm going to be going backwards to Gerudo Desert. So I believe it's in this direction.
I mean, if you want, I can also just, like, pull up a guide on how to find it and where to find it.
I guess I could, but I don't know. I could. Not over there. It's like, okay, now I know where I am. Okay. Now I know where I am. I went, like, right... You can only get it after Hyrule Castle. Oh, shoot! Alright, so let's... Oh, God, I don't have access to warps. Okay, you can only get it after Hyrule Castle. Okay, that's very good to know. Right. I feel like I actually knew that, but I just didn't. Okay. Okay. We'll do that after Hyrule Castle then. It's over here is where I want to go up. Yes, so right after Hyrule Castle, which, by the way, the first dungeon we finish is Hyrule Castle after Southern Ruins. So right after we do that, I will make it a priority to go straight to get Whole Mill. I guess I could have... I also need meat. Oh my god. So I need... Okay. Alright. I'll do that then. God, I really thought it was as simple as just like... I mean, I think I knew that you had to do it after Hyrule Castle, but I thought it was just as simple as talking to the guy in Kakarika Village. Okay, so continuing this sort of segment here. I'm getting Eternal Forest waypoint, not because I used that waypoint for a wrong warp, but because I... like, that's basically going to be our hub for wrong warping to places, because you see how this, like as I approach the edge of the screen here, or the edge of, like, what's, you know, available for me to walk on here, that's a good example. I didn't mean to do that, but that's a good example, and I'm all the way back here. Okay, so you can void out using this forest, right? That's going to be the way we get menu storage, is voiding out and opening up our menu on the same frame. So, that warp is going to be important. But here we have the Acorn Gathering game, so... We're not actually going to gather all the acorns, we're just going to, like, you know, continue as if we didn't start the game. Unfortunately. But we got one of them, at least. We got one.
He threw out the acorns himself, so isn't this basically just to do, like, asking you to pay him to play 52 pickup?
Maybe. I think what I think he's doing, actually, I think he's actually pollinating. I think that's what he's doing.
Ah, okay.
Now that I think about it, yeah, I think he's just like... He's just throwing out his seeds everywhere. Alright, be careful not to get hit by the bomb. Okay, so this waypoint here. Now, we have all the waypoints we need. But we're not done in this area. We have to go get Lizalfos 2, because Lizalfos 2 is very, 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 very good. And since we did Luberry Skip, we can't upgrade any of our equipment, including our sword. So Lizalfos 2 is going to be the main damage dealer for us in this run. So we're just going to grab you, bring you down here. 1, 2, 3, spin, and avoid the monster guts. That's a... unlucky drop, but luckily we didn't actually get it. And we're going to warp right to Eternal Forest and start our first wrong warp. So, like I said, we're going to get menu storage using a sign. You might have noticed I picked up the sign echo earlier. The sign echo is actually extremely important because it's what allows us to get menu storage. So we place a sign right there, move into the trigger, open up our map, and I missed the window for it. It's like a 3-frame window. There we go. So right now, I have my echo menu up as I'm warping away. And as I have control of Zelda. And you'll notice in the lower right, the mini-map here that's going to appear, I'm actually going to be moving around as Zelda while the menu is open. So I'm going to be accessing the stilled world here so that I have access to both arrays. I have access to, or rather, both sides of the array, both the overworld and the underworld map. And I'm going to do some shenanigans here with inputs in order to wrong warp to Hyrule Castle first. So, if this worked properly, we'll be in Hyrule Castle, which we are. I got back access, yes. I got back access to Hyrule Castle. Backdoor access, I guess? I don't know. Something like that. So we do that room kind of backwards, actually. We're supposed to, well, what the game wants you to do is go in that staircase, and that brings you around to the other side of this room, and you approach this from the left. But we can just use beds, and also some crafty grabbing of the Tektites in that room in order to just not have to deal with that entire section.
Just as a quick shout out to the lobbies out there, we have, now that we collected the cat suit, also opened up our next target, which is the Crash Bash multiplayer face-off between Argic and Huds, which stands at $250. So your lobbies, keep donating for the amazing cause that is Take This, and we really appreciate all of your lobbies for checking in, hanging out, and enjoying the amazing run with TGH.
Hell yeah. So here we have a pretty good display of do not target the ball. Don't target the ball, thank you. A pretty good display of what exactly Lizalfos 2 can do. Like, Lizalfos 2 just cleared that. Whoa, okay, well, there's the 5 rupee. Reached out and grabbed me. A pretty good example of exactly how good Lizalfos 2 just is. There we go. So we're approaching the second Ganon fight of the run. So this fight is a little scary with just 4 hearts, but we want to do Hyrule Castle first, instead of doing like Faron 1 first, which we do split Faron into 2 parts. I'll get into that later, but we want to get distance echoes as soon as possible. Okay, so we're going to be using Lizalfos 2 basically from here on out with some intermittent usages of Sword Fighter form for like mainly for the volley attacks that he does. 3, 4, 5, 6. This Lizalfos is going to jump that way and hit him from the side there. Whoops. There we go. So this fight, if you do it correctly, is actually completely scripted. Like, I kind of, like, you know, unless I forget, I know exactly where Ganon's going to spawn every time. Again, keyword, unless I forget.
I know exactly what's about to happen, unless I don't.
Exactly. That's pretty much the gist of it. I think I can just do this. Yeah, perfect. And whenever he throws the trident at you, you can grab the trident and basically just hit him with it, and it stuns him, which is really nice. Oh, I thought that was just one. I want you gone. Okay, so I want to actually get this volley stun. Otherwise known as the Stolly, apparently. I don't know either. Marathon commentary is hard. Okay, so successful fight. Not bad at all. But yeah, like I said before, we want to do Hyrule Castle first in this run. Or you don't have to. You could do Jabul first, I suppose, and then divide Farron up. Actually, do you want to... Is there a reason why you can't do... I'm forgetting. Is there a reason why you can't do Jabul first? I don't think there is. No, there's really not. You could do Jabul first if you wanted. And then split up Farron 1 and Farron 2 with Hyrule Castle. So we do Farron Temple in 2 different parts in this run, because A, it's faster to just wrong warp twice into 2 different parts of the dungeon, and 2, because of energy problems. So you may have noticed your Sword Fighter form is kind of limited by an energy bar in the top left, like whenever you actually enter the form. So Manhandla is actually more effectively fought with Sword Fighter form, just because you have like that semicircular range of effect with the sword, as opposed to Lizalfos, which kind of just stabs directly in front of it and doesn't really do that well with a bunch of flowers like Manhandla has, right? So we want energy. We want energy for that fight, or for those fights, so that we can use Sword Fighter form. So every time you finish a dungeon, you get your energy refilled. So we do Farron Temple in 2 parts, but we split them up with completing a dungeon so that we get that refill. That is one of 2 dungeons that we split up in this run. We also split up Eldin because we need a small key at the very start in order to access the back part of that temple from the last waypoint. Okay, so now we can go get Whole Mill. Because we're going to be doing as much of this run as possible with the cat suit on. So we get Whole Mill from here, and then we get meat, which I didn't pick up at the start. As far as I know, that like I only know of one place to get meat in the run, or in the game, I should say. So yeah, we'll warp to Garuda, or we'll warp to we can get meat right near Southern. I wonder if I can get meat while I'm in menu storage. No, that wouldn't make much sense. And then we go to Kakariko. Hang on, I'm legit gonna pull up a guide right now. How to get cat suit.
I have one open in the...
Oh, okay. If you could read it off to me, Roman. Like once I get Whole Mill and meat, because I know I need those. But once we once we get those, you can direct me for what to do, who to talk to, and stuff like that.
Do you mean grilled fish, by the way, with meat?
Oh, I need grilled fish.
That's what the guide says.
Is it one or the other, or is it both?
I'm not sure. The guide only mentions the grilled fish. The cat outfit is earned as part of the Questing the Local Cats quest in Kakariko Village, which is available after completing Hyrule Castle. Fast travel to Kakariko and speak to the old man standing to the right of the village well. Like, he'll tell you his story about, oh, I'm so sad because my cat left me and stuff. But there's an outfit with which you can talk to cats. Go get it, please. It's like, okay, cool. And then you'll need to meet up with the woman who has the costume. And she'll ask you to find some stuff for her, which is located under a patch of dirt beneath one of the windmills. But a cat is sitting on the patch that you need to dig up. And in order to lure the cat away, you need to grill fish.
Okay, is the meat also usable there? I trust Glenn. Because he's done a marathon run with the cat suit. So like, he said you need meat. So I trust that you can use meat and not just grilled fish. I guess we'll find out.
I'm just reading the guy. I'm not questioning the
I guess we'll. No, I'm not. I'm not questioning you, Roman. I'm questioning the guide at this point.
But if you want, I can throw in a quick donation.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
We got $5 from Totally Not Seb Smith, which reads, "Just here to appreciate TGH for being an entire legend in all possible ways, and to thank Amber for being half of what set me on the path which led me to this corner of the internet. Thanks both of you for all you've done, and happy anniversary."
Yeah, thank you very, very much.
Donation went to the target with Argig and Huds in the multiplayer, and more Red Velvet. People love Red Velvet, it seems. Also, mint chunks for the cookies.
So first and foremost, I'm gonna go get meat, which is right here. Or is it? Wait, where is it? Okay, so it is there at the very start of the run, but I guess after you finish Hyrule Castle, it's gone? Okay, well, I'm gonna go at Whole Mill. Where can I get meat? Oh, no. Okay, so is there a place to get meat after Hyrule Castle? That's the question.
I don't look up how to get
or grilled fish if it's like fast. Like it. If it's not fast, I can't really man it. I can't really afford to get it. I didn't think this had this many steps. Wait, where am I? What? Oh, I just went to... Wait, what the... What? Oh, there's the oasis. Okay, I was on the wrong side of that little plateau. Okay. So yeah, as far as I know, there's only one real place to get Whole Mill here. And I know that it's here. So we actually do this in the glitchless run. Yeah, you need Whole Mill in glitchless. There we go. There's Whole Mill. Okay, well, in the... yeah, I want to get this as soon as possible, so, like, how do you actually get meat? Places to get meat. I'm gonna look this up real quick. Hang on. Places to get meat. Echoes of Wisdom. Places to get meat.
I'm just gonna quickly read out. You should have gained the grilled fish echo in Seaside Village as part of the Jabul Waters questline. If not, head back then. You can find one resting on the docks.
Okay. Let's see the... Okay, so we can go here. Resting on the docks in Seaside Village.
Yep.
Okay. We should be good then. We should be good because I can do it from here. Hopefully. Because we finished Hyrule Castle, we should not get the opening. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we shouldn't get the opening cutscene for like Jubal Waters. Seaside. Resting on the docks. Okay, well, here are the docks. And here's, you got any grilled fish? You got any grilled fish? Where's the grilled fish? I wonder if it's like the meat, and like you can't get it after Hyrule Castle. Wait.
The lady on the docks apparently has a quest to find her son, in which you get grilled fish or something.
Oh my god. Okay, I might go with Plan B. Meats in Southern Village, apparently. I thought I saw something about like somebody cooking meat in Southern Village. We're gonna make this work, y'all. We're making this work. Southern Village is over here. And there's somebody, like, cooking. It's got to be in here. There's smoke coming from the chimney. Come on, you got to be cooking meat. Yes. Yes. Okay, we got it. We got it. All right, now we go to Kakariko.
Fleisch gemerkt. Meat memorized.
Meat memorized, indeed. I'm not sure the best way to get there from this particular waypoint, but I know this is closer. Oh, here we go. Now I know where I am. Okay. So this is the windmill where you get it. Can you just do this right now? Here, have some meat. Have some meat. There you go. Please cook your meat before memorize. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so now we use whole mill to do this. Yeah.
Well, that was muted.
And this is the lead that has it, right? There we go. There's our cat suit. Okay.
Hey.
Crisis averted. And also, now I know how to get the cat suit. So, we put that on, and there we go.
Can we talk to the cat?
Oh, I could have talked to the cat. I'll talk to, I could have talked to the cat. I think that cat just says, thank you for the meat, or something like that. I think I remember that from my casual.
So cute, though.
Yeah. Okay, so now we continue our run. Okay, so we're gonna go to Farron. The first instance of Farron now. So like I said, we split Farron Temple up into 2 parts. I'm being shoulder patted.
This is what happens when we don't practice our incentives. We become content.
Exactly.
Hi, Amber.
We become content. No, okay, so listen. I didn't think it was that complicated. I didn't think it was that complicated, but we got there. We got there. Alright, so tricky shot here. So using distance echoes, I can use the bed here twice to do that. That could have gone a lot worse. That is why we want distance echoes before we actually come into Farron. Urchin, there we go. So we do need electric keys as well. Electric keys will allow us to fight Goma, basically. Like, we need an electric echo to fight Goma. So I'm just going to kind of grab this electric keys here, jump, grab the electric keys, place the urchin on the ground, and just... It's a little too high. And just drag it into the urchin like that. There we go. Sign. Okay, so Manhandle, I think you'll quickly see what I meant earlier when I said you kind of really want to use Sword Fighter form here instead of Lizalfos because of the area of effect that the sword has. Yeah, so Lizalfos kind of struggles with that fight in particular. Alright, so now we warp out of here. And now our next destination is going to be Jabul Ruins. So Jabul Ruins uses the Elden warp point. So yeah, you're going to see me do a lot during this run, by the way. Like, a lot. going here, placing the sign, moving into it while reading it, and then I have a 3-frame window, or I believe it's a 3-frame frame window, to open my map or my menu or whatever. And that'll allow me to move around with my menu open. And that allows the wrong warp to work. So, let's see. I want crawl to left with this next one. I can also menu to my next echo as well. I can menu to the next echo. While this menu's up is just like a little bit of an optimization. And here we go. Thank you, like, seriously, thank you for meeting the catsuit incentive, by the way. I can say with certainty that now I know how to get the catsuit.
Honestly, it was just very fun and very interactive, like, with everyone involved to be like, where do we actually get this?
No, but for real, like, I mean, it's... I legit thought it was as simple as just going to Kakariko and like, talking to a couple people, but... Alright, so, if I do this correctly, so we do need Bombfish, we need the Bombfish itself, and we need the Bombfish Echo. So I'm just going to drag this Bombfish over here, collect it. By the way, I did something a couple times in Hyrule Castle called auto-loading. It's a little bit like saving and quitting, except you're using the autosave. Like, using the autosave that the game does after you, like, do certain important things, like getting keys, opening doors, etc. So you're using that, and you're just pressing the load button, and it loads you back to, in this case, where I entered the dungeon, which was the waypoint. Saves a little bit of time over swimming all the way back there.
Talk about the swimming. I noticed that you also do like the spinny move within the water.
Yeah.
How much core strength must Zelda have? Like, holy heck.
A lot. Quite a lot. Oh yeah, so here's Vocavore. Vocavore is actually kind of a tricky fight. One spin does take care of all the blobs on its back, but I do need for this particular cycle to be pretty precise position-wise. Oh, that's... Okay, that might be a problem. I might have a little bit of space in the upper right to avoid this spin attack here. Maybe... No, not quite. Okay, yeah. Alright, so I have to do a little bit of a plan B here. Let's see if I can pull this off, maybe. No, not that one. I'm honestly not sure why that didn't work. Okay, so now if I do this... Sort of. The backup for this is awful, by the way, if you, like, miss that position. And I always go this way. Okay, so at least now I can hit him, because he's going to turn around. Okay, so that was a little bit of a disaster of a fight, but that's fine. Yeah, so if you miss that kill, and for whatever reason, I guess I was just like maybe slightly early on the spin, one of the blobs got cut off like super late, and as a result, he got moved way over more toward the right than he should have been. And yeah, that just kind of threw off the whole fight. But yeah, just like that fight is very tricky to pull off a quick kill for.
But then again, always a nice display to see that a runner knows their backups.
Yeah, with that fight, the backup really is to just, as far as I know, it is to try and use a bombfish and like bind it from far away from you to complete that cycle, or to just wait until it goes down to the right and then just finish the fight that way. But yeah, that's a really hard fight to have a backup for.
Quick donation?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, we have $10 from this weird fella going by the name of Roman, who says, massive shoutouts to the lovelies behind the scenes at the FPE team who made Friendspace 2025 happen, and also much love and shoutouts to Kyria, who's currently watching from my couch. Hab dich lieb, baby doll.
Yo, thank you so much, Roman. Whoever you are.
Yeah,
whoever you are. Thank you so much, Roman.
Yeah, I mean, weird accent sometimes, that fella. What is the leveling up of Try do, by the way? I see you get more triangles and whatnot.
So it allows you to place more echoes. Basically. So in some cases, it actually just straight up allows you to place more echoes. In some cases, it lowers the cost of certain echoes as well. So you may have seen on a couple different occasions, some of my echoes like lowering in cost. Like you'll see like the 2 triangles that turn into 1 triangle, like in that little post, the post scene there. Yeah, that's what that is. So, like whenever you level up, just know that your echo usage becomes more efficient, basically. Okay, so now that we're done with Jabul, we have a nice full energy meter to go back and finish Farron Temple Part 2. But first, we have a bit of a musical.
Are you going to sing for us?
I'm not going to sing for you, but... the Zoras will. And yeah, if you happen to be okay, so basically I want to see some fish emotes in chat for this particular cutscene. If you are subbed to my channel, you know which emote to use. It's that one right there that FSV just posted. And you'll see why. That counts, Ori, that counts. That certainly does count. It is, yeah, that's a really good song. So there's a cutscene that we skipped, by the way, from Wrong Warping into Jubal Ruins, where Drad and Kashara, these like the leaders of the Zora tribes, like both the Sea Zora and the River Zora tribes, they're very angry at each other throughout like the entirety of the opening of the cutscenes that you meet them in. They're very angry at each other. Like they have beef. They have straight up beef, and they try to play music together, but also like to compete against each other. And it's very funny because that music is very dissonant and very not melodic. And you can see the notes like clashing off of each other. Basically, they're trying to play that song, but it just doesn't work, and they just can't play it together because they're so mad at each other. But everything is resolved by the end of Jabul Ruins, and you get your full cutscene with melodic music and everything. Okay, so we're on our way to Farron Part 2. In order to fight Manhandla 2 to get the big key, and then we fight Goma. Both of which are kind of interesting fights. Whoops.
Just gonna calm myself out for half a second. Because I think Amber's gonna appreciate the fact that for the first time in 3 years, I actually managed to mute myself in time before I sneeze.
Congratulations. That's a very difficult feat to do. Also, bless you.
Sneeze?
I don't think so.
Be happy.
Bless you, either way. Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alright, so I want to have Bombfish equipped. We are going to use Southern for this one. This one's slippery, apparently. There we go. We're good. Okay, so this should bring us to straight to the Manhandla 2 fight. There we go. Alright, so the blue heads we want to take care of first. They can only be vulnerable after they eat bombs. So basically, we just want to do that. We want to get them bombs, and then we go in there and we kind of go ham with sword spins. Okay. That's fine. Honestly, with that fight, as long as you don't run out of energy, it's an okay fight. Alright. Also, remembering to grab the big key. Nobody would ever forget to get the big key there, right? Nobody would ever forget that. It would never happen. Never happen. Nobody would ever lose a run to forgetting that big key. I promise you. Especially not me. I want electric keys. There we go.
I mean, we did just see it grab it, so that's evidence enough that probably never happened before as well.
Okay, so Goma is fairly simple in concept. The fight itself is a little bit complex once it gets going. There we go. But basically, you need to hit these leg nodes with the electric keys or with any electric echo. But the keys is just the best option because in phase 3, it can fly up to the nodes that we need to have to hit. The top one in particular is pretty hard to hit, so let's see if we can make this work. That one, there we go. Now we need a target with a fabulous targeting system in this game. Please hit, please turn into it. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, that actually was really good. And for a fight with no echoes to actually get you, like, on top of Goma like that, like, way up the wall on top of Goma, that was a pretty good fight, because the keys can be untrustworthy at times. And I say that as an understatement. They can definitely be untrustworthy. One thing I haven't really mentioned is the targeting system in this game. The targeting system is literally perfect with no flaws whatsoever. Just remember that. Like, in all seriousness, it'll tend to target this the thing you want to if you're facing that particular thing. Or if it happens to be an enemy, like, you know that the targeting system's going to prioritize enemies rather than, like, your own echoes or, like, you know, objects across the room. Normally, sometimes those get prioritized, sometimes they don't, you know? But yeah. Again, perfect, no flaws, no notes whatsoever.
I mean, something else that the lovelies in the chat could prioritize at the moment is donating to the pause, because as it stands right now, we're making monster cookies with mint chunks and raisinets. I feel like there's, like, a weird combo, maybe? But hey, you lovelies could change it with a little donation.
Wait, what's the combo? Mint and raisinets?
Yeah, mint chunks and raisinets. I think raisinets are just raisins?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know, like, I'm not gonna claim to, I mean, I've never had that combo in my life, but, like, I'm not gonna knock it until I try it.
I mean, I
don't know if I'm gonna get the chance to try it, but
I don't like raisins. I think they're disgusting.
I'd be fair enough if you don't like raisins, yeah, sure, but, like, I don't mind raisins, and honestly, like, I like mint too, but again, I'm not gonna knock it until I tried it.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Okay, so this point forward is where the run starts to get funny. Fun fact, that was a gold split, by the way, on my splits. Funny enough, like that's what a good Goma will do. So this cutscene is very wholesome because they're like, oh, we don't have any cotton candy anymore, which, by the way, is like a thing that, you know, you would know if you'd seen the opening cutscene, which we didn't because we skipped, but whatever. We don't have any more cotton candy, but what are we gonna do? And then they remember, oh yeah, we have smoothies to drink. You know, everyone in the village can go get smoothies now, except for this poor fella right here. It's tragic, really. But that only happens in all dungeons. That only happens in this category. I have an idea as to why. I think it's because the game still thinks the void is there. It's just not there visually. But it does have collision. So maybe that particular Deku Scrub is just trapped inside the invisible collision. That's my guess. But I think it's funnier to think that there's some kind of flag that you set or don't set in this run that is specifically tied to that one Deku Scrub that makes him just not move.
At the beginning of the run, because after the German intro, you mentioned that all dungeons is the, I think, only category left that is being ran in German.
That is correct. Yeah, most other categories are thought to be faster in simplified Chinese. Also, I am just now realizing that I did not get a certain warp after finishing Jabul, and that's why I golded that split. I forgot to do something. So I've been running a lot of glitchless for this game, and glitchless just kind of skips over this warp, or rather, like, it gets it earlier, so we don't need it after. But we do need it here. We do need it in this category, so I forgot to get the cross flows warp, which we need to wrong warp into Gerudo. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the Scrubton warp here and then make my way up towards that warp. That's my bad. And now I just feel bad about that gold because it's not a real gold. Sign works here, I guess. Sure. Okay, so we can use bed. We are literally as close as we're going to be to this particular... what? One more. So that's a trick we do in Glitchless, actually. On our way from Southern Ruins up to Jabul Waters, we do that bed trick to get up here. So, luckily... Well, at least luckily I know how to traverse the area, I suppose. But yeah, forgetting this warp is a big no in all dungeons. Don't forget this warp.
I think it's fair to say that the bed is the most used item in this entire run, isn't it?
I mean, maybe Lizalfos 2 tops it, in this category in particular, but I would say in any percent, Lizalfos is probably the most used one, yeah.
I like the concept of using beds as staircases.
It's extremely useful, I'll say that much. Like, it is, God, actually, I think unrestricted now skips the bed, believe it or not.
What?
Like, yeah, I think they just use table now. Okay, so our next destination is Gerudo. So there's a particular room in Gerudo Sanctum where you get the big key, right? This room you're usually able to see in this room, correct?
Sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, in this category, we don't have that luxury. Because we don't access the room where you pull the sand, or you pull the plug and drain the sand. So you have to do it like this. So for those not familiar, this is the room where there's like the faucet-looking thing that you turn, like the hello, there we go. So you turn the I can't think of the word for it right now, so I'll just use the word faucet. To turn the mechanism in the middle of the room, and then you bind part of the middle of it to turn it, and then use the faucet one more time. So you got to do all that while not being able to see in this category. But then we have to fight Mogrif. Just kidding, we don't actually fight Mogrif, we just leave. So that portal, that portal is there because we finished Farron Temple. And honestly, that is all I can really tell you about why that works. There's a flag. So once you beat Farron Temple, it sets a flag having that sets Gerudo to having been done. So the portal is there. So all we have to do in all dungeons is finish Farron, and then come back here to Gerudo, and we just enter the portal, and it counts Gerudo as being done.
So it's not beating the boss that counts as I have done this thing, it's literally just going to the portal.
Yes. So that's allowed in unrestricted. This is unrestricted all dungeons. Restricted all dungeons bans that. Restricted also bans, what else does it ban? It bans wrong warping into dungeons, generally. Like, you have to warp to, like, the very outside of a dungeon, like in the stilled world realm section of that dungeon, and then enter it normally. Or, like, as normally as you can possibly enter it. That's the quest menu. Oh, is the run bot going off in my chat?
Yep.
Yep. Thanks for relaying that invaluable info. I know. Elden 1. Okay, so yeah, we do need to split up Elden Temple into 2 parts now. As well. We need to do this because we need a small key. We need just one small key. Bring that over. And the small key that we get is at the very beginning of the dungeon. So we just warp to the beginning here. We go through this section. Here, I'm going to bring you over here and shock you. Whoops. That could have been a lot. Ugh! Okay, that could have been a lot better done. But that's fine. Also, we use Electric Keystare as a flyer to sort of glide us across. We have just enough room there to do that. Okay, I want Strantula. We're going to grab this lava rock here, place it there, and put a Strantula there so that we can get up. Okay, and our work is done here. So now we can just warp back to Eternal Forest, and we're going to wrong warp to the back of Elden Temple now. And you'll see what I mean when I say we need a key to access, like, the back part of this. You'll see exactly what I mean. Yeah, because we are gate-weighted by a locked door. Gate-weighted? We are gated by a locked door. I don't know where gate-weighted came from. That makes no sense.
waiting on the gate, something? I don't know.
Hell if I know. Hell if I know. So yeah, we need to grab that small key in order to progress. It's actually pretty funny. We need to go backwards through this room. This is the last room in Elden Temple before the boss. Oh, wait, I'm not there yet. Hang on. I want this. There we go. Now we'll warp into the back half of Elden. The very last part of the last room in Elden that we need to go backwards through in order to access the big key. I do need that warp point. So these wind geysers actually give me extra time. Basically, they increase the amount of time that the keys can fly you. So it is important that I hit those geysers. If I do this correctly, I can back up a bit here. Oh. I got knocked right back into the monster guts. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Alright, we use Bombfish here to grab this key, this chest that's right here, hidden by these blocks. I do need a fire keys. I'm going to use this menu to menu over to Strandalo, which I can do, by the way. I have been doing that throughout the run. So I've been using... Remember when I said it's faster to pause and unpause? Well, if I pause, I might as well use that pause menu to my next echo, right? Just a little bit of an optimization.
Oh, using the old nugget.
Yeah, so once I grab this big key, the room is going to flood with lava. So I need to get out of here. And the game doesn't let me, like, warp out of here, so... can I get lucky here? No. I apparently wasn't high enough for that. Alright, so now that I've made it out of that room, now I can warp back to... the warp point that I activated earlier, and we're going to fight Volvagia. Volvagia is a little bit more interesting in this category than it is in, like, Glitchless, where we have, like, level 3 sword. Yeah, I'll be using Lizalfos here.
How technically
we'll
is the
let
leveling
fire.
system for the run? Like, can you just beat the entire game with level 1 stuff, or do you have to upgrade stuff at certain points?
Well, I mean, you kind of, like... Your stuff upgrades on its own, really. Like, we wouldn't be able to do what we do in this run with, like, level 3 everything, because Lizalfos takes 4 tri-power to use. But just by beating Southern Ruins, like, we upgrade to level 4. Or rather to, it's level 2, but we get to use 4, like, items or echoes that are worth 4 tri-power, if that makes sense.
I see.
Yeah, so I gotta stand on a pretty specific spot there in order to have the Lizalfos attack whatever I'm targeting. Which, by the way, if I'm not targeting something, the Lizalfos just won't attack it until way, way, way later. So targeting is important. So before you place the Lizalfos, definitely target it first. Target whatever you want to hit first. Also, this section is damage capped, by the way. Like, these cycles are all damage capped. So you can't deal more than a certain amount of damage. Wait, I completely got mixed up there. I got completely mixed up. Okay. I don't know why I thought Lizalfos was going to spawn on the top right there, but... Okay, somehow managed to get a one attack cycle there. Okay, this is the last cycle. Just gonna play this very safe. That was not safe, but okay. Alright. Volvagia is done. So I will say right now, by the way, is a very good time to get up and stretch. Take care of yourselves, because this is about a 4-minute cutscene right here. We're about to see what is affectionately referred to in the community as Din's life story. So Din here is going to tell you about the final boss of the game, and basically why he's bad and what he does. And it takes a while because you can't skip any of the text, and it has like graphics associated with it as well. So, yeah, we're about to get some lore right now.
I mean, it's a good time to remind the lovelies of what they're watching and what we're donating for and whatnot, isn't it?
It is.
So, follow your lovelies who have been turning in the midst of the run and aren't sure where you've landed on Twitch right now. You are watching Fast Pace for Friendspace 2, benefiting Take This. We're a speedrunning marathon benefiting Take This, which is a mental health support charity for the gaming community. Their mission is to decrease the stigma and increase the support for mental health in the game enthusiast community and inside the game industry. Their vision is a game community that welcomes and supports people experiencing mental health challenges, and that recognizes the humanity and mental health of game creators. Because we're all one big community, we're all just a bunch of friends, and it's important to be there for each other, to support each other, and to show that, you know, the people who are near and dear to you are important. And that goes for all of you in the chat right now. If you're ever struggling, if you're having a rough time, never ever feel bad to reach out for those or to those you care about. Okay? You're an important person, you're a valid person, and you deserve to take good care of yourself. Never forget that.
Absolutely agree with that.
Same goes to you, TGH. Take care of yourself. You're amazing.
Yeah, take this as a very, very good organization. So definitely, if you have the ability to, that's who we're raising money for. So yeah, they're a very good cause. So definitely consider donating to them as well. But yeah, we do have some incentives as well lined up for later in the marathon. So be sure to pay attention to those. We've already hit, of course, we hit the incentive for the cat suit as well.
You currently have an incentive for the Crash multiplayer for Arcade versus HUDs, which is very exciting. We're at 15 out of $250 at that. And you can also participate in the polls for the cake mix for the baking later, for the homemade Twinkies, which currently we have Red Velvet on the lead with 125. But you could also choose confetti, chocolate, or lemon. I like lemon. And the mix-ins for the monster cookies, which currently have Raisinets at $10 and mint chunks at $5. But you also have the options of chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, Reese's Pieces, and Milk Duds. I don't think I've ever had Milk Duds.
I have. They're interesting. I haven't had them in a while, so I don't remember exactly what they taste like, but...
What's your favorite cookie, TGH?
My favorite cookie? Oh god. I'm kind of boring when it comes to cookies. I'm a big fan of like shortbread cookies.
Ooh.
Personally, like, I don't know, something about the texture and like the for lack of a better term, the blandness of those cookies. Like, I'm a huge fan of those, but also anything with peanut butter. Just as an aside. Anything with peanut butter.
And peanut butter do be very nice.
Okay, so the last dungeon that we have to finish is Lanayru Temple. Lanayru Temple has the worst boss in the run. That would be Scorchill. So Scorchill is the reason why we have the fire keys, or why we got the fire keys. But we'll be grabbing the ice keys while we're actually in Lanayru Temple. So for this particular wrong warp, by the way, it's faster to approach it from here, as opposed to warping all the way to Lanayru, to Eternal Forest. So we do that right there. Perfect. Yeah, it's just a bit of a different setup for that wrong warp, or for that menu storage. But yeah, it saves about 8 seconds or so to save that warp. Yeah, you heard it here first. Dangerous split. 46.67 of runs that have reached this split have ended here. Alright, so for this one we want to go to Ranch. Mainly because of Scorchill. But
Isn't it just Scorchill just sound a lot like a Pokemon?
it does, yeah. It sounds like an ice fire Pokemon. It does. Alright, so we're going to make a little bit of a detour here to go grab ice keys. We can grab ice slug instead, but I'm going to choose not to. That's just asking for bad news. There we go, we grab this, come back here. Whoops. So for this one, we can actually just grab this rock from here, and we don't have to melt the ice. We can just come back here and grab that rock from under the ice. Here we'll just place 2 beds, and then equip Lizalfos, do a distance echo over here, so that the bottom bed cancels out, the top bed lands on top, and they both hit each other at the same time. And here we have White Wolfos. This fight can go wrong if I do it incorrectly, but I've already done it correctly, so we're good. And I've already gotten the 5 rupees as well, so I don't care about this 5 rupee. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, normally you want to avoid getting 5 rupees in this run, but... there we go. Oops. So this dungeon, we don't really see a lot of it here, but this dungeon, its central mechanic is you take these orbs, which are either in fire or ice mode, and you put them on pedestals to power these fans. And the fans, whether the orbs are in fire or ice mode, can melt all the ice in the room or freeze all the water in the room to create ice. And it changes the layout of the room and allows you to progress in certain states. So for this particular one right here, I want to actually equip Ignazol. Have this orb in fire mode as it touches this pedestal, so I can melt the ice in this room. Because see the little like icicles that are coming up? Those are going to block the snowball that rolls down. So I want to melt that ice so that it all becomes water, and then do the same thing but in ice mode this time, so that it freezes all the water. So now the icicles aren't in the way anymore. We can just roll the snowball onto the switch, and that allows us access to the big key.
So you want to melt the water to freeze the water, so we can push the water onto the thing so that the water isn't in the way because it was frozen, so we melted it before. Exactly. Ah.
Don't you think
total sense?
Don't you think the heat would melt the snowball?
Kinda?
Like, I mean, this is something that's just occurring to me, but I'm not gonna question it further. Nintendo logic, I suppose. Okay, so here we go. Here's Scorchill. This fight... Oh, you know what? No, I wanted to keep Ignazol. What am I doing?
I mean, how do you grab the electric key without shocking yourself?
It's true. Okay, so... Alright. So now the Ignazol is done, and he just like kind of slammed into the Ignazol a bunch of times. Now we just use keys, and he's gonna spin around now. He's gonna do his Beyblade attack, which is unfortunate. This attack is super annoying because like he becomes like basically not invincible, but very hard to hit. Are you slamming? Yes, you are. Okay. There are a bunch of different attacks that Scorchill can do. The one that we really want him to do is the slam, because it not only immobilizes him for like a good few seconds, but it also makes him super vulnerable to any attack that you have. So if I'm lucky here too with these Keist attacks, I can actually get the Keist to hit his helmet on the way up and do a little bit of damage, and then hit it again on the actual attack, which does way more damage. Okay. This fight is extremely easy, by the way, to lose control of, especially in this phase right here. And now comes the part where he can actually switch his helmet mode between fire and ice, so you have to be cognizant of that as well. Like that, just switched from ice to fire. And, oh, that's really good, actually. I stopped him from doing the Beyblade. I call it the Beyblade. It's just him spinning around the room. Sort of like Blazetta style. Blazetta being the boss from Twilight Princess of the Snow Peak Mansion. Wow, he's changing a lot. He's moody. Okay. Whoops. Once again, stop the Beyblade attack. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out. Okay, this is dangerous. Please die. Thank you. Okay. God, that got really dicey for a second.
All skill.
Yeah, that got dicey. That fight can be a real pain. That fight has ended many of my runs in the past. I have names for Scorchill that I won't repeat here. You can use your imagination.
Score stress
okay,
because it was anything but chill.
Yes. Definitely not chill. All Scorch, no chill. But yeah, so the last dungeon, or now the last part of the game that we have to do is the final boss area. Which we wrong warp into, of course. We don't do any of the part that leads up to it. We just go fight Null, the final boss. So if all goes well, unfortunately this run is going to go a little bit above estimate because of my catsuit adventures, and also because, you know, some other things as well, like me forgetting the crossflows warp. But it's no big deal. It'll be like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes over, maybe 3. At least now I know how to get the catsuit, though.
In the meantime, shall we go through some donations that have flown in?
Yeah, absolutely. We got time.
Amazing. We got a $10 donation from Verifage with no comment, as well as a $15 donation from Jessa Dragonfly with no comment, and a $20 donation from Adatree, which reads, "Please don't read this comment on the air." No, wait, what are you doing? I explicitly told you not to. Well, this is how it's going to be. At least remind the viewers that they can use the tabs on the Chillifer page to select both a poll and a target. It's very true, Adatree. You can put your donations to both things, a target and the poll. Because our target for the Arc vs. Health multiplayer face-off is now at $60 out of $250. And the poll has become more interesting. The mix-ins for the cookies now have a shared lead between mint chunks and Reese's Pieces with $20, white chocolate chips at 10 and Raisinets at 10. So, interesting.
Yo, thanks y'all for the donations, for real.
Gaming flavor for the Twinkie still is at Red Velvet with 125. I think that's a safe win unless some big donations flow in.
This is Conde, by the way. Unfortunately, we didn't see much of Conde during this run, but we get to see this, so that's fine. All is fine. So because of the order of the dungeons that we do, we actually don't get the cutscene that is supposed to happen here, which has like Null creating Echo Zelda, which is what's supposed to happen there. But because we did the dungeons in a really weird order, we mixed up the pre-Hyrule Castle dungeons and the post-Hyrule Castle dungeons in a certain way. The order of that made it so that we didn't really have to watch that cutscene at all. In this case, it's specifically because we did Gerudo at the time that we did. Okay, so, Null's body, there are a couple of different things to note in Null's body. One is, alright, so, the first room consists of 3 different segments, each involving, like, dark blobs that fly at you and hit you and spawn enemies. We're gonna let the first one hit us, but then the second 2, we're not gonna let hit us. Instead, we're gonna be, it looks like we're going to be running away from one of them, but instead we're actually just waiting for it to stay still so that we can hit it twice. And the last one, there's a specific spot we can stand to let the last one just kind of wrap around us infinitely, and we can hit it easily from there. After that comes something called softlock skip, which I'll explain directly after this coming room. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of hide in the corner here. Bring Link with me. And that was perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Slash spin. Good. And I'm going to stand right here. Target and slash 3 times, and that's the room. So that last one is very, very important because that was a Lionel that just spawned, or that just didn't spawn. Okay, so now I'm going to try something called softlock skip, and I'll tell you why this would be a softlock after I actually get it. This is frame perfect, and I missed it. Okay. So yeah, what I was supposed to do there was actually hit the switch and save and quit on the same frame, and that's a bit difficult to do. But you can buffer it. You can buffer it with your Echo menu. That's like the easiest way to do it. But if I do it correctly, let's see if hopefully I can do it this time. Nope. I buffered frame perfectly the first time, but... There we go. Okay, so you see it light up there? So now we save, and we load the same file. The reason we have to do this is because Link is not there on the left side of the room. Link is normally there, and the game advances when Link does a certain thing and leaves the room. I want... Oh boy, No, nope, 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 nope. Okay. Like, Link is supposed to nod at Zelda and then leave the room, and then the game is allowed, quote unquote, to let you move again. However, Link isn't there, so we have to do something weird to advance the game. And now I'm going backwards because under normal circumstances that thing isn't open. The wall isn't open. Of course, under normal circumstances that is. But because we wrong warped in, that wall never actually like closes. A lot of things are different because we wrong warp into Null's body. One main thing that's different, by the way, is that we don't lose our sword fighter form. We don't lose that access to our sword fighter form, so we can use that at will, which is going to be useful at one point in this final boss fight. So this fight is going to consist of 3 different phases. One where Null's just a blob and he's got arms that you need to pull and yank, and Link will cut them off for you. Phase 2 is an underwater section that I'll explain once we get there. It's pretty simple. And Phase 3 is just kind of a super buffed version of Phase 1. Please jump, Link. You got this. I'm gonna grab those hearts. Okay, so this fight also does kind of like, doesn't require, but it's made a lot better by you just kind of babysitting Link. Like, Link definitely needs to be babysat during this fight quite a bit. Like, Link needs to be directed. So you'll see me grabbing Link a lot in order to get him to do certain things and like be in certain positions. Because he doesn't really know where to stand otherwise. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, so these intermittent phases where the arms are in the walls, again, they work the same as they do from the body. Like, you just, like, pull them out and it works. Okay, so that's essentially Phase 1. Phase 2 is an underwater section that's going to be a little bit strange. If you haven't seen this run. So we're going to be swimming alongside Null throughout this long 2D underwater section. Null's health is going to be decreasing throughout this entire part. From, I think it's like 500 to 1 at a certain point. And it's faster, it's just more efficient to just swim alongside Null until that health reaches 1, and then we can just hit him with Sword Fighter form and end the phase. So our objective here is just to swim as fast as possible.
How do you know his health hasn't reached 1?
Oh, it does at a certain point. Like a certain point on the screen, like in this section. There's a cue for it. It's when he reaches a certain hump in the floor. It's right about here. Right there. So just one hit ends the phase. Okay, Phase 3. I'm gonna be focusing really hard on the back arms of Null. You see the ones with like bright ends at the end of them. I'll be focusing on those because those are the ones that summon these mid-phase boss sort of boss attacks. So I'm focusing on those mainly. Go. These are the hard parts right here, these intermittent phases, and Link is holding a sword out, which is not good. That means I'm probably going to have to pull a plan B here. Maybe? Nope. Okay, that's really not good. Yeah, so I got really... Actually, I didn't get unlucky. I just kind of forgot how to do that part. Please. Link, you need to kill some of these guys, man. Come on. All right. Here. Oh, targeting is really good. Come on, Link. There you go. All right, and now we rinse repeat. Oh, that was interesting. Turn face me, there we go. Too early, Link. Sorry, good thing about having the frog ring. See what I just did there? I just jumped over that Lizalfos attack. That's a good thing about having the frog ring here. Is I can just do that. There we go. Okay. Okay, this is the attack you don't want to see. This one takes forever and also like basically requires you to equip a fire echo so that you can burn these webs so that they don't bother you on the floor for the rest of the fight. But the good thing is I got 2 of the... Really? Okay, that was just BS. Okay. That's a really dangerous attack. You really don't want to see that attack. Okay, so that should do it. Time is going to end here after this quick time phase where I have to just mash A. So we're going to grab the prime energy out of null. And... time.
Jeez.
Alright, that is The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom All Dungeons, complete with me figuring out how to get the cat suit live in a marathon, and and a bunch of other stuff went wrong too. But this category in this game is very, very fun. Very highly recommend. And I will say as well, I'll say really quickly, since that did go a little bit over estimate, I will say very quickly, if you do want to run this game, do not upgrade to current patch. 1.0.0 physical cartridge is your best bet. So yeah, that's all I'll say. But I will wrap up very quickly here. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the marathon. I'll be hanging out in chat. I'll be moderating and be working on live setup and stuff like that. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the marathon. Keep donating for Take This. We have great incentives coming up, and hope everyone has a good time. And I'll see you around.